This is my camera. It's been with me for 2 years. We have 2 paintings that I painted. This is supposed to be like the ocean, but it's abstract. Got this branch from my backyard, so we're really doing some DIY work. Yeah, these flowers kind of look dead, but it's an aesthetic.
One, two, three. Jennifer Zhang is a 20-year-old YouTuber. She's been doing this for 5 years. Now, I'm the kind of Asian that's not so good with numbers, but with 1.7 million subscribers on YouTube and 116,000 plus followers on Instagram, I would say that she's doing pretty well right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm like, doing pretty okay.
And she's also humble. Who is Generation DIY?
Whoa. Now that I think back on it and think more about it, I'm like, there are multiple different meanings to it. First of all, it's just like generating DIYs, like making things. And also something that you mentioned when we were talking previously, you were like, this is the generation of DIY, making things yourself, creating opportunities for yourself, which I think that YouTube is a platform where people are creating opportunities for themselves, and I think it's really great that something exists like that.
Tell us about what inspired you to even get started with that, and did you always were you always super crafty, or was it something you grew up doing?
Yeah, so I've always been making stuff my whole life. I think I taught myself how to braid when I was 3 years old, and ever since I can remember, I've always been making little gifts and cards for my family members for their birthdays and that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's just always been a hobby of mine. Whenever I had time, when I was little, I would just hole up in my room and grab some construction paper and make some pop-up card house or something. I don't know. But yeah, I've just been making stuff my whole life.
How would you describe the evolution of your persona and your content as you, as well as your audience, have matured?
Ooh, people kind of want to see the more real side of people, and it's been way more enjoyable for me, and I think the audience as well, to see the more real side and relatable side to me, because I'm not perfect. Obviously, nobody's perfect, like Hannah Montana says. But
yes, great lessons.
I know, iconic queen.
Was there something that happened that really just reminded you that hey, that people want to see the real you?
When I started vlogging, because I made a second channel for vlogging and just stuff that I wanted to upload whenever I wanted to, people responded really well to that, and I guess from that partly I realized that people don't just care about these super well produced videos that have great lighting and these really saturated colors. I enjoy connecting more on a real life. I want it to feel like real life and not just this show.
What kind of work goes into being a YouTube content creator?
My schedule is roughly once a week. Honestly, I'm supposed to upload every Sunday, but I am not perfect. Like Hannah Montana says, again.
Oh,
love quoting her. So yeah, I generally upload once a week and film once a week. Sometimes I pre-record. But recently I have been kind of, how do I explain? It's been a lot to upload every single week for 5 years.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of natural to get to a point where it doesn't feel like it did before. And I think a lot of YouTubers right now are feeling that and are voicing how they're feeling about YouTube. And I think it's been really good for me to hear that other people are also going through it. So yeah, I guess I'm just going through a period where I'm trying to figure out what direction I want to go with my on my channel, and what my purpose is on my channel. But yeah, I feel like I'm going through like a midlife crisis at 20. And I guess that is one of the weird things about, I guess, like becoming successful so early. I also kind of burn out earlier, and yeah, I used to be in school for the past 2 years, but now I'm not. My dad was actually the one who suggested that I drop out of school, which like doesn't happen in Asian families.
No.
I know.
Unheard of.
Yeah, it's
Oh my
so
gosh.
so I was actually really surprised too when he was like, "Why don't you just drop out?" I'm like, "Dad, I'm not gonna drop out. Like, I'm gonna get my degree." And then like cut to like 3 months later, I'm like not in school anymore.
So if you were to describe not Generation DIY, but Jennifer Zhang, from Richmond, BC, 20-year-old from Richmond, BC, Canada, how would you describe yourself, or how would your friends describe me then?
I think at this point in my life, like, I actually don't know anymore, because YouTube has kind of, my YouTube channel is me, which has its drawbacks, because I guess right now I'm like, well, what are my hobbies outside of YouTube? And sometimes I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, it's a really weird position that I am in my life, and also just because this is such a like weird job, so it's hard to differentiate like where Jennifer Zhang starts and Generation DIY.
What are some things that you kind of like learned about yourself throughout this journey so far?
Well, I actually used to be. I mean, I'm still introverted. I don't think that's ever gonna change. But I learned that I can be more extroverted and outgoing through going to YouTube events and just like being in front of a camera and being comfortable with myself. I think that even though I'm still not the best at like social situations, I've gotten so much better, and public speaking, that kind of stuff, is a lot easier, although I'm still learning.
Oh my gosh, there's always so much learning to do.
Yeah.
Right? So.
But I am glad to be a little bit less socially awkward. But yeah, I guess that's one really good thing that's come out of YouTube. I didn't even actually think about that until you brought it up. You're like, oh, it's the generation of DIY. I was like, I literally never thought deeply about it ever. I was like, Gen and DIY. I was like, Generation DIY. Here's my big pegboard. I just display a bunch of different DIY supplies, I guess, on here. Made this in a video, took us a very long time. My dad helped me out a lot, so shouts to my dad. And a speaker that's actually from YouTube, which is pretty cool. I just blast out my tunes when I'm making DIYs. I have these little mini terrariums, which are pretty cute. I made this out of straws, and then I glued them together and spray painted it so it looks like copper. Oh, it's a little dusty right now. I made this out of hot glue, just like made the pattern and then like squeeze some hot glue onto there. Cool. Markers, basic stuff, scissors, and then, yeah, spray paint. That's my pegboard.